Hello, and welcome to this very special video series from HR Magazine. My name is Katie Jacobs, and I am the editor of HR Magazine. This year, to celebrate our 25th anniversary, we are pleased to present a series of video interviews with Dave Ulrich on the future of the HR profession. Ulrich is the father of the HR business partner model and is consistently voted one of the most influential thinkers in HR. In this video, kindly sponsored by Midland HR, Ulrich treats us to a speed teaching session answering quick-fire HR questions.
Hi, my name is Dave Ulrich. I'm a professor at the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan and a partner in the RBL Group. Today we're doing what's called speed teaching, which is we're going to get a topic and I'm going to try to give a 1 to 3 minute quick response about a topic that might be of interest to HR professionals. One of the fascinating things we just published in Harvard Business Review in 2014, we did a survey, and it was with Korn Ferry data. And we looked at CEOs who are successful on 14 dimensions. So we had the profile of a successful CEO. We then compared that profile with 4 staff functions: the head of finance, the head of IT, the head of marketing, and the head of HR. Here was our shocking finding. The one that was the closest was the head of HR. What does that say? The most successful CEOs today have the same leadership profile as the successful heads of HR. What we're finding is CEOs need what we in HR bring. Their success is not just knowing finance, marketing, strategy. It's managing the people side that allow those ideas to get implemented and sustained. So CEOs, good CEOs, seem to know and recognize and value the skill sets of good chief HR officers. About every 3 to 4 years, somebody writes an article, "Why I hate HR, blow up HR." Frankly, they frustrate me. Some prophets look at the world and they see things that are wrong with the world and they tell people they're going to hell because they're sinning. Other prophets look at the same people and they give people a pathway to heaven. I like the latter more than the former. Are there bad HR people? Duh. By the way, look around. We can find them. Are there good HR people? Of course. Let's give HR people a pathway to heaven. Let's quit talking about blowing up HR, getting rid of HR. I hate HR. Let's focus on what's right, not what's wrong. And let's build the future of HR around that positive agenda of how we can shape value. One of the things we find is a critical part of HR skills is not what we know, but how what we know creates value for those we care about. You cannot create value for someone else till you know them, till you network with them. And so John Boudreau and others have done some brilliant work. HR as a group should be connected to marketing. We should connect HR to customers, to marketing. HR should be connected to information. Wayne Brockbank is saying information is a key source of advantage. How does HR connect? My work and our work is HR connected to the investor. When HR professionals know how to bridge and connect and collaborate, they bring an integrated value set to their organization. Ram Charan did a wonderful article about separating HR into 2 parts, an administrative part, which is transaction or foundational work, and a strategic part. Here's my take on Ram's article. Actually, 2 takes. Lots of people in the HR field were frustrated with Ram's essay. I have a belief about being positive with people we care about. I wrote a rebuttal to Ram, but I didn't want to publish it till I talked to him. It took about 10 days. We finally got on the phone. I said, "Ram, here's my rebuttal," and he said, "Thank you. You're the only one that came to me before you wrote it." By the way, for me, that's a message of collaboration in HR. We should disagree with each other, but we should do so with respect. Now, what's my disagreement? My disagreement is that's not new. Finance was separated into accounting and finance, marketing into sales and marketing. HR, foundation work and strategic work has been separated for 20 years. It's called service centers. It's called HRIS systems. It's Oracle. It's PeopleSoft through Oracle. It's SAP. It's Workday. We've seen that happening, and that separation is real, and they're managed differently. I think Ram picked up a great theme that's about 20 years old. some of the work on emotional intelligence by Richard Boyatzis and others is really good. If we're not aware of ourselves, we're not going to be successful. Gandhi had a great quote, "Be the change you want to become." If we aren't aware of our strengths and our weaknesses, we're going to be in trouble. But here's the insight. When we're aware of strengths and weaknesses, don't let our weaknesses constrain our strengths. I'm a teacher. I give talks. I meet with lots of groups. Here's a weakness. One of my friends said to me, "Dave, don't buy an Armani suit. It's really expensive and you won't look any better." I thought it was a great line. You know what? Here's a weakness. I sweat a little bit. My hair is curly. I'm heavy. And if I let that get in the way of my being able to do a talk, I'll fail. We have weaknesses. Move aside. Focus on those strengths and use those strengths to serve other people. It's not just build on your strengths. It's build on your strengths to strengthen others. And then our strengths in HR enable us to create value for other people. But we should be aware of who we are so that we use those strengths in a good way. You know, it's interesting. People often say, "Oh, I want to go into finance," or "I want to go into marketing." Here's one of my lines. The one-eyed person in the house of the blind is king. There's a lot of smart people in finance and marketing. Come into HR. If you're one of the best, you're going to have a great career. Someday you'll work for HR Magazine. No, that's a joke. But you're going to have a great opportunity in this field to do creative work if those are your passions and interests. If you're interested about talent, culture, leadership, and how those systems create companies that win, it's a great place to spend time. When we see fads as leaving the past and not building on the past, I go to the computer industry. They say the 386 chip was a fad. The 386 wasn't a fad. The 386 20 years ago was a great chip. Then the 486, then the Pentium, then the Pentium Plus. I think other fields build on each other better than we do in HR. Recently, I've had a couple of friends write books about the competencies of HR, and they come up with their framework, and they don't build on what's been done. John Boudreau and Ed Lawler, Wayne Brockbank, myself, and others. We spent years building, but a lot of folks in HR ignore what's been done and try to recreate a future without building on the past. I think that's not helpful because I think that leads to the faddish idea. I think fields evolve when they complement each other. And I hope we in HR can be like the technology fields. There's evolution of ideas. That doesn't mean the previous ideas were bad, but we're just moving forward. And I hope we can do that as a profession. In the evolution of employee sentiment, we've seen some distinct changes. Sentiment began as satisfaction. Do you like your job? Do you like your pay? Do you like your working conditions? Then it evolved to commitment or engagement. Are you engaged? Are you doing your best? Then it's evolving again to well-being. Sometimes you can show up at work. You're engaged. I'm there physically. Well-being and the Gallup organization and others are starting to say sentiment is not showing up. It's showing up with your heart and soul. Getting that heart and soul into work is what makes all the difference. We did a book called The Why of Work. We went through that employee engagement sentiment literature and said, when employees find meaning and purpose from the work that they do, marvelous things happen. Making meaning makes money. They'll work harder, they'll be more productive. Making meaning brings meaning to their whole life. Your affect or your sentiment at work, your well-being at work affects your well-being at home as well. Making being builds organizations that are stronger than individuals. When we can begin to build that sense of sentiment, that sense of well-being, the organization outlives the individual. And one of the trends is that we're seeing employees have responsibility for it. It's not, did you like your pay? Did you like your work? What have you done to get meaning from your work? What have you done to use your leader to help you? And Marshall Goldsmith in his research is finding when employees take accountability for their personal well-being, they have much better impact on the work well-being.